Welcome to another episode of Tunay na Buhay at Walang Halong Chismis. Pero syempre minsan, masarap din naman na makapag-chismis ng life. And of course, joining me tonight, ang aking kachika at ang king of chismias is of course ang aking kachika at kagossip late at night bago kami matulog, Mr. Cheese Escudero.
Hindi lang bago matulog, bago sa lahat.
Bago sa lahat, bagong lahat, welcome to an episode of Adulting/Chismis on Heart World. So ngayon ang pag-uusapan natin is like indecent offers. Siyempre sa
Ay,
industriya.
grabe, ilang beses na.
Sa mundo namin, medyo, I grew up knowing this. Pero may na-experience pa ako. I think very, very slight experience. Pero feeling ko dahil alam nila na hindi naman ako yung type, hindi naman sila tumodo. Kunwari meron akong kaibigan o ako ang in-offer kung single ako. How do you think is the best way to deny that offer?
What do you mean deny that?
No, kasi some people, no, kunwari ako yun, may pinagdadaanan yung pamilya ko or what.
Gusto mo ba?
Ayoko, hindi ko kaya.
Eh kung ayaw mo, sabihin mo ayaw mo. Kung gusto mo, di sabihin mo gusto mo. Malay mo, pogi. O, gusto mo.
Eh, paano kung hindi? Eh, lalong hindi.
Eh, di lalong hindi. It's a matter of saying what you want and don't want. Pero pag nangulit siyang,
nakakatakot
stalking na yun.
Oh,
Merong krimen, merong batas laban sa stalking.
Sa industriya ko, medyo common siya. Pero for me, ang thoughts ko naman dyan wala akong judgment kasi sa ganyan Hindi mo kasi alam talaga kung anong pinagdadaanan ng tao na yun. Hindi mo rin alam siguro yung feeling kapag ikaw mismo yung nandun at kailangan mong kumapit sa patalim.
Hindi ko alam kung paano magre-react doon.
Okay. Ayun na yung
hindi
statement
pa nangyari
ko.
sa akin yun.
Okay. Dami mga na-involve sa scam, which is so unfortunate. And in Jesus' name, di mangyayari sa akin yun. How can that be avoided? And it's so unfair. Honestly, it's so unfair. Like, kung ako kinuha ko as an endorser, tapos hindi ko na maalam yung what happened sa mga back dealing and stuff like that. Tapos ako pa yung...
Ibang usapan yun. Yung mga lumalabas ngayon na yung endorser, ang dinedemanda, mali yun. Hindi tama yun. Dapat lamang naman na hindi sila masama, mademanda kung hindi sila partner or bahagi nung scheme, scam, or nung negosyo.
What if I just collaborated? That's a separate deal, right?
Again, pag hindi ka partner, hindi ka kasosyo, hindi ka bahagi ng negosyo, endorser ka lang, binayaran ka para doon, at hindi shares of stock ng kumpanya ang binayad sa'yo na magiging kasosyo ka na, hindi ka dapat
Paano
damay
kung
doon.
tumakbo na yung pinaka-may-ari?
Yun ang ginagawa ngayon. Yan ang madalas natin nakikita ngayon na dinedemanda yung endorser dahil hindi kilala yung may-ari, hindi kilala yung mga tunay na may-ari ng kumpanya, ang kilala lang yung nag-endorse. So, syempre, kapit sa padalim din sila, nangahabulin nila, yung nag-endorse. Mali yun at hindi dapat yun. But there's a basic rule para wag ka ma-scam. Rule ko na sinusunod yun palagi. If it's too good to be true, it's not true.
Yeah.
Sino man ang mangangako sa'yo ng 5%, 10%, 20% a month, too good to be true, di ba? Malamang po, hindi totoo yun. Huwag kayong sumakay at maniwala.
Yes. No. In a more poetic way, mag-plant muna kayo ng seeds at lagyan nyo ng tubig, lagyan nyo ng sun, and eventually, it's harvest time. Quiet hiwalayan or public post? Ako, totoo lang, medyo may ugali ako na when it's done, it's done.
No, for me, a basic rule should be, kung ma-social media ka at ginawa mong public yung relasyon mo, asawa mo man o girlfriend o boyfriend, kung naghiwalay kayo, may obligasyon ka, na sabihin din sa public yun.
At some point.
Pero kung pribado yung buhay mo, hindi mo sinocial media, isinantabi mo yun sa politika ang buhay mo, sa showbiz na buhay mo, edi pwede mo ring panatilihing pribado yan.
But I have a question. Ako kasi, pinoblik kita eh. So, iba talaga yung panino kasi pinoblik kita, so I owe it to set the record straight at the time. Kaya, kumuha pa ako ng lawyer.
I gave you a choice. I said, you go, I won't. Right?
Yeah.
So, ganun.
So there are a lot of things that are coming out, like screen capping conversation, blackmailing people with screen caps. Fine, it's out there, ayan, for people to judge, but the technicalities of it all, is this allowed? Like, is it illegal to do that or what?
Violation ng data privacy yan. Pwede kayo demanda. Ang problema lang, pag nagdemanda ka ng violation ng data privacy yan, edi para mo na lang inamin na totoo yung screenshot. So, decision. Timbangin mo.
I love this topic because it touches something very sensitive sa akin. Nagamit na sa akin yung dati eh, na parang, I have exported conversations from WhatsApp, chu-chu-chu, I have screenshots, blah, 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 since ganito, ganyan. May mga ganun ako before sa past ko. Parang, that's already a threat technically kasi it's a crime, right?
Yes, grave threats is defined as threatening to commit a crime against you.
Parang kunwari ikaw yung mali, or what? Tapos nga, ginamit sa'yo yung screenshots, pero ikaw naman yung mali. And then parang, yung perception taas, bakit ka magdidemanda ng iba kung ikaw naman yung mali?
Walang kinalaman kung mali o tama ang ginawa mo, kung mali o tama yung nakalagay sa screenshot. Ang pinaparusahan doon yung paglabag nga ng privacy mo. May isang Supreme Court decision na nagsabi, yung screenshots pwedeng gamitin sa isang criminal case bilang patunay o bilang ebidensya laban o pabor sa isang akusado. Yun lamang yung exemption. Ayon sa korte, pero wala sa batas yun.
Question. Voice recording. That's also
Same.
same.
Pag sumulat ka sa akin, sino may-ari nun? Ikaw o ako?
Ay, ang galing ng tanong mo ah. Sulat ko eh. Pero binigay ko din sa'yo. Share tayo.
At pag sumulat ka, di ba, ang may-ari nun, yung sinulatan mo.
Okay. You can't post that.
Again, you can't post that. I can.
Yes. But I can't.
Technically, akin na yun.
So,
Technically, akin na yan. Pero, ba't ko naman ayaw na i-post mo? Binigay mo nga sa akin. So, ano naman problema nun?
just to cap off all of this that we're talking about, this is life. And just a reminder ha, life is not perfect. Your clothes can be, but your life isn't perfect. So, I don't believe in cancel culture because if we're gonna start canceling each other, then I can easily point the finger at you two because did you sin? Did you do this? Labas niyo yung mga group chats niyo and let's see if you won't be judged as well. So it's sometimes you have to also kind of balance it and wag tayo masyadong cruel kasi lahat tayo may pinagdadaanan, lahat tayo hindi perfecto. Yun lang yung point ko.
Nung panahon kasi namin, I was born in 1969. Wala naman social media, so lahat ng kalokohan at katarantaduhang ginawa namin nung bata kami, there's no record of it. Ngayon kasi ang hilig ng mga tao mag-post sa social media ng mga pribado nilang buhay, ng ginagawa nila, pag kumakain sila, pag nakainom sila, pag lasing sila, pag malungkot sila, pag galit sila. Na later on, pagsisisihan nila na bakit ko ba ginawa yun, bakit ko ba sinabi yun. Di ba? Just keep that in mind, na ang social media is a repository. Kung may library noon at encyclopedia, ngayon, social media na yun. Lalabas at lalabas yan. Sa ayaw mo man at sa gusto mo.
Yeah.
So, be mindful sa mga pinopost mo lang.
At the end of the day, dapat ingatan mo din kung sino talaga yung circle mo. And you only show that with the people you trust. So, mag-iingat ka talaga rin kung saan mo ipuposisyon yung sarili mo. Kasi kung sino man yung core mo, yun din ang maglalabas ng mga vulnerable moments mo. Meron ka bang New Year's resolution?
Sa dami ng naging New Year ka, mag-New Year's resolution pa ba ako? Anak ng tinapanan. Parang hindi naman na makataro ngayon.
Tanda ka na.
Kung hindi ko pa nagagawa yun sa ngayon, hindi ko na siguro magagawa yun. Okay na yun.
Uy, pero laki ng pinagbago mo.
Yung mga mag-gym, yung kakain, magpapa-healthy, yung gano'n, mga ginagawa yun pa mga 20s, 30s.
Ako siguro, New Year's resolution ko, not necessarily...
meron ka pa?
Yes! Not necessarily January. Ang promise ko sa sarili ko, pag nag-turn ako ng 40, I will be very mindful and strict about what I put out. Like, meaning to say, my hard-earned money. Kasi...
Hindi ka nagagastos?
Hindi naman sa hindi ako gagastos. Wait lang. Ang point ko lang is...
Makikinig ako dyan.
Oh yes, makinig ka. Totoo na talaga to. Hindi, kasi I know how it feels na magtrabaho. Kumayod talaga dahil gusto ko nito, dahil gusto... Kasi I'm lucky, in that way, I'm privileged ako na hindi naman ako naging breadwinner in a sense na sa pamilya ko. Pero ibig sabihin, lahat ng meron ako, lahat ng suot ko, pinagtrabawan ko. As in, talagang pinagpuyatan ko, talagang pinilit ko yan para mabili ko yung mga meron ako. But now, as I get older, I really feel tired. Iba na talaga yung dating sa akin. Kahit Fashion Week, hinimatay na ako sa Fashion Week. Yung alam ko na nagsasuffer yung health ko. If
Matanda
I go,
ka na, darling.
Yun na nga, over and beyond. Just to get the bag, just to get the jacket, just to these mga ridiculous things na ginagagamit ko naman sa trabaho ko. But I will not use that anymore to justify. I will really review talaga, talagang hihigpitan ko yung belt ko pag gumagastos ako.
Kahit yun na lang, okay na ako doon. Happy na ako doon.
Wala ka namang kinalaman doon.
Kahit
Meron
na,
kasi kaming,
kahit na yung,
Wait lang.
kahit na yung sa ugali, di mo na baguhin yan lang, okay
yes,
na.
okay. Kasi ito yung ano namin, ang sinasabi mo, yung the pot. Share the pot, share the pot. Kasi yung iniisip ko sa tao na ginagastusan mo ako na ganito. Yung pot story.
Kahit na may prenup kami, na, alam mo yun, parang nanlit man ako, pinirmahan ko pa rin. Kahit may prenup kami, sabi ko nga sa kanya, sa dulo, pareho pa rin yun. Kasi kung meron siya, wala ako, edi siya pupuno nun. Kung wala siya, meron ako, edi ako rin naman ang pupuno nun. So, wag niya ako idamay sa kalokohan niya na ikaw na bumili nito sa akin para hindi na ako. Sabi ko, ganun din yun.
Anong natutunan ko from you?
Parang wala naman. Anong sasabihin ko? Hindi sa anong natutunan mo eh. Lilisan lang ako. Marunong ka na ba magluto?
Yes, I can survive.
Marunong ka ba magpalit ng lampin?
No. Yes, ng aso, oo. Yung diaper.
Magandang practice na yun. Siguro baka mga 3 dekada pa gagawin mo na yun sa akin.
Sa'yo.
Marunong ka na ba magdeposito ng pera sa bangko?
I just signed the checks though. That's it. But I don't
Hindi
really
na pwedeng ganun.
But I'm so busy. You said to delegate, di ba? Yung sabi mo saan, delegate.
Delegate pero sa dulo, kailangan mong gawin
Yes,
kung
but
gusto
I
mo
check
magawa
na now.
ng
I
tama.
check na now all of the kung
Kasi
approval,
pag hindi
ganyan.
mo... Sinabi ko na sa inyo, wag na natin tanong to kasi mag-aaway lang
Kasi
kami.
dati hindi ako nagbabasa. Pag pumipirma ako, ngayon nagbabasa na ako.
May alam ka na nga ba sa pagtitipid?
I've changed, you know. So,
Darling, nagbawas, hindi pa rin nagtitipid. Iba yung nagda-diet sa nagbabawas lang araw-araw. Hindi ka papayat sa pagbabawas araw-araw.
yes. Kaya the moral lesson of the story, when I turned 40.
Alam mo yung mga resolution na sinisimula ng may
It's
petsa?
not a resolution, it's a promise.
Yan yung mga malabong resolution eh. Dapat yung mga kailangan mong gawin pag...
And the greatest promise
Ganun
is
talaga.
not to promise to other people, but to promise to yourself. Kasi mas natutupad yun. This is the reborn me. I'm a different person.
Minsan bumabangon-bangon ulit, i-cremate na natin. I-cremate na natin yan para hindi na talaga bumangon muli.
What is the best way to, kunwari, know your worth and when you're doing, yung nagde-deal na kayo, to ask kung ano yung worth mo, kung magkano yung sweldo, paano yung magandang approach doon?
Kayo na yan ngayon eh. Nung panahon namin, nakakahiyang tanong yan eh. Hindi tinatanong yan. But the current generation, hindi naman sa mas entitled, pero mas parang feeling nila na dapat malaman ko to. Ang problema, kung ang boss, yung mag-hire, yung aabutan nila ay galing pa sa henerasyon ko, hindi maganda yung magiging tingin doon. Kung galing sa henerasyon din nila, na ganyan din mag-isip, edi well and good.
That's a good way of putting it, ha?
Try to find out in a nice way. I presume, bago ka mag-apply, dapat inalam mo na, di ba? So for me, still be respectful in whatever it is you want to ask and find out. And at the end of the day, complete staff work cannot be beaten. So dapat alam mo na kung magkano yung sweldo mo bago ka pa mag-apply sa anumang posisyon ng kumpanya.
When to help and when to stop helping. Ano yung pinakamagandang advice dyan?
Para sa akin, ang rule ko palagi dyan, imbis na magpautang ka sa nangangailangan ng tulong, magbigay ka na lang ng mas mababa
Yes.
Yung kaya mo talaga at bukal sa kalooban mo nang hindi mo na ine-expect na babayaran ka.
Yeah.
Kesa magpautang ka nung kailangan niya at aasahan nung mababayaran pa, pag-aawayan niyo lang yun eh.
Kasi iba ako dati. Pero ngayon nagbago na ako. Everything goes through a system now because I have a hard time to say no. Nahihirapan akong humindi, especially pag na-awkward ako. Yung, syempre, ang ganda-ganda ng suot ko, tapos utang ng 100,000 yung, hindi ko alam nung sasabihin ko, di ba? But now, it really goes through, like, it has to be filtered. I usually say, let me ask my staff, it has to go through the office. Give me time, let's see if I can do it. Kasi it goes through a system.
Dudutuan ko lang. Pero na-discover ko sa buhay ko, mas maluwang yung pera pag mas maluwag dumating, pag mas maluwag ka rin magbigay at tumulong. Pag masyado kang matipid at mahigpit at parang nagkukuripot at nagdadamot ka, parang ang hirap din dumating ng pera. So I guess it's the law of karma, or I guess it's just being a Christian too, depending on what you believe in.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Chismoso, for joining me in the show today. Let me shake your hand. I'll see you later.
Wala man lang kiss sabay hug dyan.
Naka-blur. Nahiya ako eh. Nahiya ang arte.
But it's so great to be here back in Sorsogon. It was a really, really long ride. How are you doing, babe? Alright, Sorsogon.
I truly did leave my heart in Sorsogon kasi lumakay ako na wala kaming probinsya, technically. Pero yung mommy ko, taga Bicol siya sa Camarines. So nung na-introduce sa akin yung Sorsogon, sobrang refreshed talaga ako na meron palang ganitong peace na pwede mong puntahan, isang paradise. On our way to Rampiolas. And this is our
New coastal road.
ganda.
Project of God.
We are here at Gibalon in commemoration of the first mass celebrated by Along. So ito yung garden namin. This is the room. And dahil hindi ako pinayagan ni Chase, mag-wallpaper here, I have to paint it myself. Like it?
Yeah,
It's a different freaking room.
I know. It's more homey.
So, nung prenup namin, doon namin shoot kasi isa sa mga, hindi pa kami out masyado ng cheese noon. So, isa sa mga lugar na pinuntahan namin nung hindi kami masyado pang nagko-confirm na we were together was Sorsogon. So, there are a lot of places na napuntahan ko doon na I wanted to feature in the prenup shoot. Like, kunwari, ano ba yung mga pinuntahan namin? Yung mga beach, Bulusan Lake was one kasi favorite ko din yun. My dad also, bumili pa nga siya ng lupa doon. Tapos may pinatayo siyang maliit na lugar para sa sarili niya. Nandun lahat ng mga aso niya.
So we're here at the construction site of my dad's new house in Sorsogon. And ito na po siya. Yan talaga siya. Yan, puro putik kasi yung mga aso niya.
So, bakit kayo nag-away dati?
Dito,
Ni Cheese?
nag-aaway. Hindi ko naman siya naging kaaway.
Bakit di ka pumunta sa wedding?
Maganda.
The only person that understands.
Ito pinakamaswerte yung aso sa mundo palagay ko.
That is that true? Bakit masarap dito sa Sorsogon?
Puro masarap pagkain, maraming isda. Sipo dito, maganda.
Baliw na baliw ako sa thrift shopping kasi ang dami talagang Actually, sa lahat naman ng mga ukay-ukay, madami kang makukuhang gold. Pero ito talaga, parang hindi ba yun nakikita to? Ang dami talaga.
This is so cute. This is so nice. Yes, hello. Oh my god. Really nice. And it's reversible. For 20 bucks?
I get it.
Imagine it on Gigi Hadid. Don't imagine it on me. But it's really nice. For 20 bucks? Hello. For 20 bucks? It's really nice. 20 pesos. So nice.
So nabaliw-baliw ako, and I have some pieces pa rin up to now. Especially in my closet in Sorsogon, whenever I'm there, nandun na lahat ng mga ukay-ukay pieces ko na style ko, ginupit-kupit ko, and I love it. Punta ako ng Paris, punta ako ng ganyan. But hindi lang yun na talagang alam na ang dami natin sobrang magagandang lugar dito sa Pilipinas. We also have the gymnasium. Meron din kami yung field na napakaganda na para kang nasa Rome. Meron din kaming museum, and there's so much culture and history and beautiful beaches that you will see in Sorsogon, and the people are lovely. Nung oath-taking na yon, ang dami kong patong ng concealer sa mukha ko dahil ang dami kong pantal sa mukha dahil I was so nervous. Parang yung photographer pa, kasi nakaganon kami, yung sa part ko yung may oath-taking, yung kamay ni Cheese nakaharang sa mukha ko. So the press people kept on saying, move to the side, move to the side. Ayoko mag-move to the side kasi ayoko maging conscious na ang ako, kailangan hindi ako mabulol, di ba? Ganyan sila, kailangan makita sa news. So nagmumukha akong tanga kasi parang, is that what she's thinking of, na hindi siya kita sa camera? But for me, it was totally the opposite. Hay nako!
Wag kang kabahan, darling. Kaya mo yan.
Well, first and foremost, when Cheese was elected as Senate President, I was very happy for him nung nalaman ko yun. Na-stress ako dahil, according to the books, I have to head the Senate Spouses Foundation, which they've done wonderful things in the past. But it was so much pressure to me. Since I was young, turo sa akin ng tatay ko yun eh, kung ano man yung points mo sa earth, iba yung points mo sa heaven, especially kung walang nakakaalam. So ang points ko sa heaven, it's much better or mas importante yun sa akin than the likes ko sa Instagram. So umiyak ako. Na-upset ako kasi parang this and that, ang daming issue, and I didn't want to have anything to do with that. Kasi when I help, I don't want my sincerity to be tarnished. Kumbaga, politika kasi ginato niya. Hate na hate ko yun. Iniyakan ko siya. In-embrace ko siya eventually. And I saw na, I think, one of the first times na sa ginagawa ko, na-prove ko sa sarili ko na kung ano yung pinagtrabahuhan ko, kung ano yung nagain ko dyan, wasn't just to wear. You wear that as an armor. Fashion is an armor, but it also is a driving force that can be for good. And lahat ng mga nakatrabaho ko, lahat ng mga naging sponsors ko, lahat ng mga naging contracts ko, they all helped. They all donated. They were present when I needed them the most. They were there right away. And then doon ako nagkaroon ng full parang purpose na this is what I do and this is what it's for. So now I've embraced it 100%. And even when the time comes na hindi na ako yun nandun, because these things are fleeting, maybe privately and however I can give a shed light to a certain charity, I would do it with all my heart. Hindi na ako matatakot. Ayoko din magpanggap, kumbaga na ito ako, pagdating dyan, biglang pak, simple, ganyan. Ayoko, gusto ko, nagpapakatotoo lang ako. So I will dress accordingly.
Wow!
Saan tayo punta?
We're going to the State of the Nation. The office. Or Center Francis G.S. Pero I do have a little effort of kind of toning it down a little bit. Huwag naman tayo na exage. Hindi naman gala to.
I remember before I used to be very stressed about the song because, you know, it's different when it's political. But now I'm very excited, very chill, and I love my dress. So thank you so much, Michael Oliva. It's beautiful. Sa Cheese, walang ka-stress-stress. Yun din ang suot niya kanina umaga. Wala problema.
With meetings, and I'm very lucky that I'm very privileged that I'm able to set meetings. Kasi usually, ang ginagawa is we can do a gala na parang per plate, ganyan-ganyan. Medyo hinuhold ko yung thought na yun kasi medyo naniniwala ako sa galas and all of that for charity. But I feel like if I can save money and not shed out this much, and if I go straight to the source and show them my plans and talk to the person in charge, then I can go straight to, let's come up with an e-learning building or something like that. So hopefully, if I have enough time, I really want to come up with a standalone building where we can supply computers, where they can have unlimited access to the internet, which is knowledge, and that's what the kids need. It will be a pivotal way of their learning and them becoming better versions of themselves for our future, for the country's future. So yun yung gusto ko. This year I turned 40, and there's a lot of, thinking, a lot of lessons learned, a lot of mistakes, a lot of things that, yes, I regret. Probably, they say not to regret. Pero kasama yun dun sa pag-build up ng pagkatao ko. I'm happy kung saan ako ngayon. In fact, I think I'm my most happiest is where I am today. I am my most grateful. Basically, kung tomorrow, mawala sa akin kung ano man ang meron kong career, okay lang ako. Na-realize ko talaga na the only thing important is my home and the health of people I love. This is a very important item na sana one day, business pa rin, pwede ko siyang i-print or pwede ko siyang i-frame ng mga, kasi nandito lahat ng mga like poetry that I write, or like whenever I do a reel, meron akong mga voiceovers, dito ko siya ginagawa. I also have my storyboard sa mga fashion reels ko na ginagawa. Dito ko siya ginagawa. Dito ko siya dinedrawing, pinaplan out. And it's very symbolic for me because I bought this in Venice, and I remember this was a very tough time in my life. And the icon or the artwork in front was heart over brain. My mom would say the opposite in Spanish, usa tu cabeza antes de corazón. Use your head before your heart. That's what she said. But I've always been this. And I feel like this will save you always in the end because wala kang inutakan. You would always do everything with love. Even if it got you in trouble in the end, it was still worth it because you were real and sincere. So yan, ito siguro yung aking most treasured item for this year and last year. And I will really make sure na makip ko siya and hopefully publish it to all of you guys, unfiltered. So that is the end of another episode. I've learned a lot. Madami akong pinagdaanan sa buhay. And now I understand why. Kasi kailangan ko pala siya i-share sa inyo. Kasi bago nyo makommit ang mistake, baka sakaling na ipigilan ko kayo. Madami pang mga kalokohan, madami pang exciting adventures next week dito lang sa Heart World. I'll see you then.